Let's go. Check this out.
A Georgia Police Department this morning is investigating an officer caught on video making a disturbing statement.
We only kill black people. Yeah, we only kill black people, right?
The Cobb County.
I heard when I was born, mama signed the papers, but then the government went and made a corporation. And that very day I was made into a slave, and they gave me a number, I'm the product of the state. This is their society and they wanted me to live, and they took away my rights, gave me benefits and privileges. And if you don't know what your name in all caps is, the game over, you the already lost kid. Colorized laws with the 14th Amendment is. Lock us all up is what Abraham Lincoln did. See, it's most evil, most sinister sight. Learn your universal declaration of human rights. Be that much smarter than your father. Learn about the treaty of peace, the Magna Carta. Stop living off presumptions and show yourself. And start looking at the temples and know yourself, cause they do. Yeah. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Preamble. Whereas recognition of the inherent dignity and the equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. Whereas disregard and contempt for human rights have resulted in barbarous acts which have outraged the conscience of mankind, and the advent of a world in which human beings shall enjoy freedom of speech and belief and freedom from fear and want has been proclaimed as the highest aspiration of the common people, whereas it is essential, if man is not to be compelled to have recourse as a last resort to rebellion against tyranny and oppression, that human rights should be protected by rule of law, whereas it is essential to promote the development of friendly relations between nations, whereas the people of United Nations have in the Charter reaffirming their faith in fundamental human rights, in the dignity and worth of the human person, and in the equal rights of men and women, and have determined to promote social progress and better standards of life in larger freedom. Whereas member states have pledged themselves to achieve, in cooperation with the United Nations, the promotion of universal respect for and observance of human rights and fundamental freedoms. Whereas common understanding of these rights and freedoms is the greatest importance for the full realization of this pledge. Now, therefore, the General Assembly proclaimed this Universal Declaration of Human Rights as a common standard of achievement for all people and all nations, to the end that every individual and every organ of society keeping this declaration constantly in mind shall strive, teaching and educating and education to promote respect for these rights and freedoms by the progressive measure, national and international, to secure their universal and effective recognition and observance, both among the people of member states themselves and among the people of territories under their jurisdiction. Okay, so that's for everybody, right? Article 1. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in spirit of brotherhood. If you don't see that, then somebody don't think you're a human. Article 2. Pay attention to this verbiage in here. Pay attention to the language, right? Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration. Everyone, right? Without distinction of any kind, such as race, listen, color, sex, language, religion, political, or other opinion, national or social origins, property, birth, or other status. Listen closely. Furthermore, no distinction shall be made on the basis of the political, jurisdictional, and international status of the country or territory to which a person belongs, whether it be independent, listen, trust, non-self-governing, or under any other limitation of sovereignty. Listen, Article 3, everyone has a right to life, liberty, and security of person. You have a right to secure your person. Article 4, no one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Slavery and the slave trade shall be prohibited in all their forms. Prison is slavery. Article 5, no one shall be subjected to torture or cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment or punishment. I can tell you right now, a lot of black people don't feel like Article 5 apply to them. And they right, it don't apply to y'all. Article 6, everyone has the right to recognition everywhere as a person before the law. Article 6, there are a lot of black people, especially some white people, but they getting it too. But a lot of people who think they colors know Article 6 don't apply to them. How could you have recognition as a person before the law when you can't even speak for yourself? You can't talk to the so-called judge. All that shit some bullshit. Article 7, all are equal before the law and are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection of the law. All are entitled to equal protection against any discrimination in violation of this declaration and against any incitement to such discrimination. Really? Now I'm gonna be real with y'all. When I thought I was black, before I came into the knowledge of self, you know what I'm saying? This how they handled me too when I went to court. When I went to so-called court anyway, they handled me the same way. Shut up, stand in the box, let me think about what I'm gonna do with you, all that type of stuff. But when I came into that KOS, baby, when I came into that knowledge of self, and I went in there, it was a whole nother ball game, you know? And I'm telling you from experience, this how it works. These people are bluffing. It's just like a poker game. They're gonna call your bluff because they know most people, 90% of people, well, I'm gonna say 85% of people for the gods and the goddesses. 85% of people have not a clue on how things really work. So as a result, they can put the fraud before you and you wouldn't notice. I'll give you an example. Most people, just a quick example before I get off topic, because I'm known to do that, but it's just so much information. But I'm gonna give you a quick example. So many people, when so-called buying a house, quote unquote, and getting a mortgage, quote unquote, at the end of that process, they have a closing on the house, right? They have a closing on the house. Then later, after whatever situation happened, and you can't keep the house, or you can't pay the mortgage, quote unquote, then they put the house in foreclosing, right? But the word "for" means pre. So, if you do something before, you did it pre. But if you did it before, it's pre, not post. So how could you have the closing on a house at the end of the time when you purchased the house, but after you fail to pay a mortgage or something like that, then the house go into foreclosing? I don't get it. So, and most people don't, because they don't understand that a mortgage is a dead pledge. So that's just my little example of how people just don't know that they put a false paradigm or illusion in front of the actual reality of things. So Article 7, I just did. Article 8, everyone has the right to an effective remedy by the competent national tribunals for acts violating the fundamental rights granted him by the Constitution or by law. Now notice, they said a tribunal. You know what I'm saying? And they got a real thing going on in the Moorish community, because we really don't have a tribunal. We should have a board, but I think Moors out of the round table, and the Moorish consulate and the consular courts, they to reopen that, and they trying to give us a tribunal. And I guess now I'm gonna rephrase that. Now we do have a tribunal, but before, I think that was the huge part of our problem is coming together, because we didn't have that. But you see, under Article 8, you have a right to that. So, our people just need to get our stuff together. Article 9, no one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest, detention, or exile. Tell me, my people, I know my people don't feel like Article 9 applied to them. But these human rights, y'all, these human rights, remember that. Article 10, everybody is entitled in full equality to a fair and public hearing by an independent and impartial tribunal in the determination of his rights and obligations and of any criminal charge against him. Come on, man. I don't even have to. Y'all are not about to stunt and act like, you know what I'm saying, like this apply to y'all if y'all around here calling y'all colors. I'm talking about black and white people. This don't apply to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Some so-called white people might get some so-called privilege from other so-called white people in a corporate type of status, or if they have so-called money, they might have friends that they connected to in high places that may overlook certain things in a legal capacity, but don't get it twisted. If you really free, you don't have to even answer to these people, to be honest with you. But the mere fact that if you think they quote unquote summons you and you have to be there to answer to them, like you missing the whole, you missing what they telling you right now. You know what I'm saying? You missing the whole thing about being entitled to full equality, to a fair and public hearing. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they don't have the right to even call you there, do you think you're gonna have a fair and public hearing? You know what I'm saying? I know from experience when I was standing on my square, the judge, so-called judge anyway, ordered people who didn't have a so-called case in the court that day to step in the hallway because they knew I was coming from prior situations I had with them. So, you know, just, man, studying is the key. Anyway, Article 11, everyone charged with a penal offense has the right to be presumed innocent to proven guilty according to law in a public trial at which he has had all the guarantees necessary for his defense. No one shall be held guilty of any penal offense on account of any act of omission which did not constitute a penal offense under national or international law at the time when it was committed, nor shall a heavier penalty be imposed than the one that was applicable at the time the penal offense was committed. And I see that occurring, like when you see some of our people that get killed over a traffic stop. This is a result of rogue government, pretty much, because they telling you like you like that the punishment exceeds the crime. Like, so I end up dead, like Sandra Bland ended up dead because she didn't signal her lane change. Man, people need to study and wake up, because these are rights that you have as humans. And if they don't treat you like none of these articles say that they should treat you, then they not looking at you like you're a human. Get that through your head, because that's the key to understanding how you deal with these people. And they have certain things that you can show them to let them know that you are human. And maybe they're not human, but you are human. And as a human, they have to respect your human rights. I mean, it's simple, you know? Article 13. No, I'm Article 12, I'm sorry. No one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondence, nor to attack upon his honor and reputation. Everyone has a right to the protection under the law against such interference or attack. Now, if you understand the language, man, this here Article 12 say a whole lot, because if no one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, then all these corporations that's asking you for a background check before you get a job, for you to go take a drug test so they can get in, see what you have inside of your system before you can get a job, for you to do any of these things, that's a violation of your privacy. So when they ask you for that shit, you supposed to kindly decline and tell them that that's a violation of your privacy. And then, of course, people who don't know, people who feel like that's what they need to survive, they'll feel threatened to do this because they feel like, hey, I do that, I'm definitely not getting a job. But guess what? If they do not give you a job based on this, and you can prove that that's the reason why they refuse to give you the job, guess what that is? That's a tort claim. That's a lawsuit. And you can file charges because that's treason against you. You know what I'm saying? Family, that's child support. If no one shall be subject to arbitrary interference, how can somebody get involved in your family disputes and tell you how you should be taking care of your child or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Home, you already know they come in your house and come tell you all kind of stuff where you lay your head and you so-called quote-unquote pay your bills at, right? Or correspondence. That's y'all, whatever y'all traveling in. Your correspondence is what you traveling in. So you know, clicking a ticket and stuff like that, all those things are frauds. All those things are aimed at you. They aim at people who don't know their rights. See what I'm saying? Nor to attack upon his honor or reputation. Now, how many times you see news media outlets or whatever flashing people faces and, you know, swaying the public that this person did something wrong or something bad or whatnot. You know, they're not supposed to do that, but they do it because most of the people are ignorant to the rights that humans have. Everyone has the right to the protection of the law against such interference or attack. You know, so under the protection of the law, if you had a right to life, liberty, and security of person, and somebody just launched an attack against you, right? If they just launched an attack against you, how does that work out? Well, when you know the law, if that person launched the attack against you and say something was to happen when somebody ended up dead or something like that, you know, like if you was defending your honor, you know what I'm saying, and you rightfully so, you know what I'm saying, like man, hey, I'm just putting a understanding of how this work out there, because a lot of our people be scared to defend themselves because they don't know how things work. But hey, man, you have a right to defend yourself, security of person. You know, Article 13, everyone has the right to freedom of movement. That means the right to travel, freedom of movement. You can go wherever, and residence within the border of each state, right? Everyone has a right to leave any country, including his own, and to return to his country. So what's the passport all about? See how see how if you know your rights, then you understand, what's the driver's license and all that stuff about. If you have freedom of movement, why when you go to certain so-called states, they tell you that if you're gonna be there a certain amount of time, you have to go down and file with them and become one of their subjects or some stuff like that. But you got the right to movement. Anyway, Article 14, everyone has the right to seek to enjoy the other country asylum from persecution. This right may not be invoked in the case of prosecutions generally arising from non-political crimes or from acts contrary to the purposes and principles of the United Nations. Article 15 is really the most important one, you ask me. But then it has falsehood too. It's truth and falsehood strangely mixed. Because Article 15 says that 1, everyone has a right to nationality. But 2 says no one should be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality nor denied the right to change his nationality. Now, I see what they're doing with 2, because 2 opened the door for birthright theft. Because really, if nationality is all about bloodline, and it is really all about bloodline, then how could you change your nationality? But in retrospect, when you're talking in terms of rights, then you have to have that loophole there. Number 2, you have to have that loophole there. You gotta have that remedy there, because by right, if you're gonna give somebody the right to have a nationality, then you gotta have a right for them to not have that nationality too. So say if you have a certain people who study the history of another people and like that history of another people and can identify more with the creed, culture, history, and things of that other person, then they have a right to say, hey, I want to be that. Just like you have a right to want to be a slave if you want to, which is a nationality. But in a connotative way of speaking, if you want to be in servitude, you can volunteer servitude. Nobody can stop you from saying, you can go literally make a contract with somebody and say, look, I'm going to be your personal slave, assistant, servant. I'm going to do whatever you tell me to do 24 hours a day, every day of the week for the rest of my life. And if it's a valid contract, and these days it don't even have to be valid, but if it's a valid contract, then hey, they're gonna hold you to it because it's a valid contract. So Article 16, men and women of full age, so that means you gotta be a majority. When you see a full age in law, that means you're a majority. So people talking about the minorities, you are not of full age. Without any limitations due to race, nationality, or religion, have the right to marry and to found a family. They are entitled to equal rights as to marriage, during marriage, and it is dissolution. Marriage shall be entered into with the free and full consent of the intending spouses. The family is the natural and fundamental group unit of society and is entitled to protection by society and by the state. I think that was self-explanatory. However, like I said, it got a flip side to every coin, because like I see like marriage shall be entered into only with the free and full consent intended spouses, right? That sounds real innocent, but in a culture like Moorish culture originally had what you call arranged marriages, because we looked at charts and we married our children according to the compatibility that they had with other children as opposed to what they charts said. So that can be dangerous, because that can make argument for people who trying to enforce their culture or whatever. But nonetheless, like I said, they have to have that remedy there. You know what I'm saying? If you're talking about real freedom. See, because that's what this document is talking about. Real human freedom. So, and that's why they say man or woman. So that go for a man that think he a woman, or for a woman that thinks she a man. Like it's really organic, and it's really divine. This document, when you think about it, because it really give you what the Most High intended you to have is free will, And Article 17, everyone has the right to own property alone as well as in association with others. 2, no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his property. So when they tow your car, that's depriving you of your property. When they foreclose on your house and kick you out, that's depriving you of your property. So you need to know your rights in order to protect yourself, right? You need to know these things. Article 18, everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom either alone or in community with others, and in public or private, to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. There you have it. So I don't get people who belong to a certain religious sect. Just because you belong to a certain religious sect, that don't give you no more right to resources and everything else that come along with this life, with this quality of life, because people don't belong to your religious sect. They can have their own religious sect and their own observations. They can have their own. Nobody can regulate what you believe in, who your God is, none of that. So the whole fact that people take up a posture and think that, whatever somebody else believes is the root to their problem, that might be so, but it ain't what God intended. Nah, that's what man doing. Because the Most High, like I said, this is organic, this is the divine document. So the Most High, think about this. I'm the Most High. There's nothing to compete with me. So there's no reason for me to be doing none of this stuff that these people teach in their religion that I do. So anyway, let's move on. Article 19, everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. So there you have it. You have a right to speak out, and nobody can take that right from you. But when Kaepernick did it with the NFL, you know, like the whole country looked like they didn't understand what he did, and they was going against the man for the very thing that he was like the thing that they claim that they have. That's what the man was proving that they don't have, and they got mad at the man for proving that they don't have this freedom that they think they have. Because if they really had this freedom that they thought they have, then I don't have to bow. I don't have to stand and pledge to nothing without being ridiculed, and like I don't have to be a part of that. Nobody can make me be a part of that, and everybody can have to respect how I feel about that. You know why? Because this is my right as a human. So, you know, again, you could just go through everyday life and see people don't know their rights. So how could you protect something that you don't know you have? See what I'm saying? Article 20. Everyone has a right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. No one may be compelled to belong to any association. That's what I just said about Colin Kaepernick. Because the so-called U.S. is an association, it's a corporation or whatever. Nobody can make you be compelled to that. And that man was trying to show y'all that, hey, I ain't rocking with them because they ain't rocking with me. I have a full-blooded Caucasian brother that I live with in the same house, and we can walk out the door and the world treat me totally different from what it treat him. Self-explanatory. Article 21. Everyone has the right to take part in the government of his country, directly or through freely choosing representatives. You heard that? Directly or through freely chosen representatives. So if you directly want to be involved with the government of your country, you can. So why people act like it's a problem when you stand up and say, nah, I don't like what y'all doing, I'm gonna take over from here. It's your right. So people who don't think they have a right, think they have a right. Isn't this proof that you've been miseducated and trained to think the way that you think? Everyone has a right to equal access to public service in his country. The will of the people shall be the basis of the authority of the government. This will shall be expressed in periodic and general elections, which shall be by universal and equal suffrage, and shall be held by secret vote or by equivalent free voting procedure. Nah, you already know they running this bad boy by secret vote. You already know they just put the front on like you have a equivalent free voting procedure, but nah, the electoral college determines the votes. Popularity votes don't mean shit. They wipe their ass with popular votes. I'm just saying. Article 22. Everyone as a member of society has the right to social security and is entitled to realization through national effort and international cooperation, and in accordance with the organization and resources of each state of the economic, social, and cultural rights indispensable, what they say, indispensable for his dignity and the free development of his personality. Article 23. Everyone has the right to work, to free choice of employment, to just and favorable conditions of work, and to protection against unemployment. You're supposed to have protection against unemployment. Protection against unemployment. Not an unemployment rate. You're supposed to have protection against unemployment. 2, everyone without any discrimination has the right to equal pay for equal work. Yeah. How many of y'all work jobs with people who get paid more than y'all, but y'all working the same job as they are working? Everyone who works has the right to just and favorable remuneration, ensuring for himself and his family an existence worthy of human dignity. We talk quality of life, people, and supplemental, if necessary, by other means of social protection. So they're supposed to have layers of protection against you being unproductive. That's just it. Humans don't realize that they supposed to be living a productive life irregardless. Whether you work for somebody or not, you still supposed to be living a productive life. But if you decided to work for someone, you're supposed to have all these things in place to welcome you aboard, so to say. Article 23. Everyone has the right to work, free choice of employment, and just pay. I said that already. Excuse me. Oh, I'm on photo. Everyone has the right to form and to join trade unions for the protection of his interests. They got unions for Europeans, but they don't really have unions for us. I mean, we can partake in some European unions, but nonetheless, I don't know. Article 24. Everyone has the right to rest and leisure, including reasonable limitations of working hours and periodic holidays with pay. Yeah. Article 25. Everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of himself and his family, including food, clothing, housing, and medical care, and necessary social service, and the right to social security in the event of unemployment, sickness, disability, widowhood, old age, or other lack of livelihood in circumstances beyond his control. That's supposed to be your standard of living. All this stuff talking about put up money and save this for retirement, and that's supposed to be automatic when you get a certain age. When you get to any circumstance beyond your control, it's supposed to be by right a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being to oneself and to one family, including food, clothing, housing. It's supposed to give you all these things, people. This ain't nothing that you asking for a handout. This is your right. This ain't a handout. You're not asking for handouts. You just protecting your right. All right. Motherhood and childhood are entitled to special care and assistance. All children, whether born in or out of wedlock, shall enjoy the same social protection. Everybody, not just the people who, not just married children. Article 26. Everyone has a right to education. I'm gonna change that and say erudition. Everyone has a right to erudition. Erudition shall be free, at least in the elementary and fundamental stages. Elementary education shall be compulsory. Technical and professional education shall be made generally available, and higher education shall be equally accessible to all on the basis of merit. Education shall be directed to the full development of human personality and to the strengthening of respect for human rights and fundamental freedom. It shall promote understanding, tolerance, and friendships among all nations, racial and religious groups, and shall further the activities of the United Nations for the maintenance of peace. Maintenance of peace. 3. Parents have a prior right to choose the kind of education that shall be given to their children. So you had a right to choose that. Parents, how many of y'all knew that? Because if you could choose to give your child a private education or a home education, you could do that. But in some of these so-called states, they're trying to make that illegal. Why? If you're a human, Article 27. 1. Everyone has a right freely to participate in the cultural life of community, to enjoy the arts, and to share in scientific advancement and its benefits. 2. Everyone has the right to the protection of the moral and material interests resulting from any scientific, literary, or artistic production of which he is the author. Excuse me. Article 28. Everyone is entitled to a social and international order in which the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration can be fully realized. Article 29. 1. Everyone has duties to the community in which alone the free and full development of his personality is possible. 2. In the exercise of his rights and freedom, everyone shall be subject only to such limitations as are determined by law solely for the purpose of securing those due recognition and respect for the rights and freedoms of others, and of meeting the just requirements of morality, public order, and the general welfare in a democratic society. And that should be a republic society. These rights and freedoms may in no case be exercised contrary to the purposes and principles of the United Nations. Article 30. Nothing in this declaration may be interpreted as implying for any state, group, or person any right to engage in any activity or to perform any act aimed at the destruction of any of the rights and freedoms set forth herein.